Hello, and welcome. This is Real Talk Today with Musa Walaikipia. Karibuni sana. Kama ilivyo ada yetu ni kwamba we say here we have conversations on what is affecting our society. And there is no a better time than today to speak about this topic that many people run away from. Ukitaja mambo ya mtu kujitoa uhai, hiyo ndio kwa kizungu wanaita suicide. Watu wengi wanapotelea haya maneno. Can you imagine in a small city like ours called Nanyuki, watu 8 wanajitoa uhai within a week, not even a month, within a week. This is not something that tunaweza kimbia tuseme ya kwamba tutapotea na hatutaongea kuhusu kwa sababu it's a taboo. When I was growing up, watu wengi hawakuwa wanaongea mambo ya suicide. Actually nakumbuka vizuri sana wakati ambapo nilikuwa nalelewa pale katika kijiji cha Garindari, up to my 20s nilijua mtu mmoja tu ambaye alijitoa uhai, na familia hiyo ilichukuliwa ni kama watu ambao labda wanakichaa ama ni watu ambao wamerogwa. But I am understanding today mental health is very, very important. Wakati ambapo unaumwa na tumbo, hauwezi kuvumilia kwa usiku mzima. Wengi wetu unakimbia, unapata dawa. Wengi wetu unakimbia, unapigia rafiki yako simu, kama ni daktari ama ni nurse, ama unaenda pale kwa mtandao, unasearch ni nini inaweza kukusaidia ili ukatae kuumwa na tumbo. Kwa nini katika society yetu tunapuuza mambo ya kusumbuka kwa akili? Huo ni ugonjwa ambao umekuwa hapo kwa miaka na mikaka. Na hapa ndio ninaanza kuelewa sasa ya kwamba wakati ambapo tumekuwa tukikua na pia katika society yetu, jambo hili la kusumbuka kwa mawazo, wengi wetu tumekuwa tukiumia polepole, lakini hatuna msaada. Unakuta ya kwamba in Kikuyu kuna wale wanasema ukienda hospitali oraiguo uguo, you just feel just like that. That feeling just like that may be a sign that you're suffering from something that is not the physical pain. Ni kusumbuka kwa mafikira. Hebu ni kushtue. Kama miaka ya 2002, mwaka 2003, je wajua? When we talk about suicide, this is a very serious thing. Mimi mwenyewe, Musa Walaikipia, hili jambo lilikujia kwa akili zangu. Wakati ambapo nilikuwa nafanya kule kazi ya hawking kule Nairobi, maisha yalikuwa magumu. Hakuna mahali ambapo pa kusaidia, familia imesambaratika, hauna kazi. Na mimi nilifikiria, ilikuja kwa akili zangu, na nikafikiria kwa nini basi ni survive katika ulimwengu huu ambao ni ulimwengu ambao hauna tumaini. And I was at Thika Road, at just opposite a church called Baptist Church, Thika Road Baptist Church. And I thought, why shouldn't I just throw myself on this road and just die and forget about life? That is Musa Walaikipia. How many of us are hiding in the cocoon that we are smiling, tunaweka ile emoji, tunafikiria tuko sawa, lakini wengi wetu hata kama hauja attempt suicide, wengi wetu imetukujia kwa akili zetu. Na hiyo ni mimi, na unaweza kuniona ukafikiria mimi labda ninaongea haya maneno kwa sababu haijawahi nipata. Mimi mwenyewe ilinifikiria, ilinikujia katika akili zangu. Na wakati ule ilikuwa ni wakati Thika Road ilikuwa ni line moja na magari yalikuwa nakuja speed pale. Kwa hivyo kama ningejaribu ku attempt, kwa sababu tutakuwa tunaangalia kwa nini watu wengi wana attempt suicide. Do they want to die ama ni ile tu kutaka kushtua watu? So we'll also be asking ourselves this question. Kama watu wanataka kujiua, wanataka kujaribu kushtua watu, wanakuta inafanikiwa, tutakuwa tunaangalia hivyo. Na there is no better time for us to speak about this than now. Kwa sababu kweli katika jamii yetu watu wengi wanaumia. Karibuni sana, kwa majina yangu naitwa Musa Walaikipia. Ukipata kuona hii video, share na wengine. Na ikiwa una swali kuhusu mambo ya suicide, sisi ndio tuko na expert, tuko na counseling psychologist hapa leo, lakini tunaweza kuwa sisi hatuna ujuzi ule mwingi, lakini tutaweza kukusaidia kuelewa na kuongea, kwa sababu inaanza kwa sisi kuongea. It starts by us talking, because our counseling psychologists will be telling us there are things that are called kama talk therapy. Ukiwa una mawazo mengi, unaenda unatafuta mtu na mnaweza kuongea, hasa professionals. Na pia na hope ya kwamba hii itakuwa conversation nzuri, na pia najua itakuwa ni wakati wa baraka. Katika siku ya leo niko pamoja of course na 2 ladies and 1 gentleman. I tried to do what is called the third gender rule. Yani leo ni 50-50. Tuko na wanaume wawili na tuko na 2 ladies ambao watatusaidia to have this conversation. And this is only part 1 of suicide prevention, because our aim is not just to talk, is to ask ourselves, how do we prevent suicides in our society? Karibuni sana, na ukipata kuona hii video please share na mwenzako, ili na kama uko na swali andika pale kwa comment, ama kama uko na comment uandike pale, and at the tail end of this broadcast I'll be able to also sample 2 or 3 of your comments even as we proceed. I want to start on my immediate left, ili niweze kuintroduce yule ambaye ni mtaalamu wetu kwa siku ya leo, ambaye ni counseling psychologist, na pia kumbuka pia ameolewa, ni mke wangu. Tuanze na Tabisu. Introduce yourself. Say hi to our viewers and introduce yourself.
Good. So thank you so much, Musa, for that introduction of yourself, and also telling us that these are matters that are within us and that even touch us as individuals who are seated here today. So Tabisu Njoroge is my name. A wife, a mother, and also a counseling psychologist. And it's a pleasure to once again have these conversations, because we keep saying that let's normalize talking about this, because if we don't talk about them, how will people know where to get the help? And also let's embrace counseling, because there is no weakness in seeking help. So I'm really glad to be on this platform as a panelist today. So asante sana.
Thank you so much. And I also forgot to tell you that we also have a son, mmoja, lakini sikusema ati ni mmoja tu, tunaendelea kujaza huu ulimwengu so that we obey what God says in the book of Genesis. So on my left also there's another lady. Pia introduce yourself. I don't want to say your name. There was a teacher of ours, I like making jokes. There was a teacher of ours who would say, Moses Gitonga Njoroge, unaweza tuambia jina lako ni nani? Si already ashatuambia. So introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Kathomi Kaburu. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Musa, for this opportunity. I'm very passionate about mental health. It has affected me personally, my family, friends. I know people who go through mental health. I feel like it's a topic that we've not yet embraced it. You know, we can talk about it amongst ourselves, but it's not out there. Ni kama taboo, let us say. But I'm glad that we are starting to normalize this, and these opportunities to speak about this is going to open more doors. I'm a marketer by profession. I'm also an event planner. I am also a mom, and I am a student of psychology. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Karibu sana, karibu sana. And there's something that you have said, although you have not verbalized it, that it is okay not to be okay. And we have to make sure that we are having these conversations and telling people it is okay not to be okay. And it is okay to cry. It is okay to seek help. Yeah. It is not weakness to go for therapy. And those are the conversations that we'll be having. We have another, this guy that I'm about to give him an opportunity to introduce himself is also a person who is very passionate. Actually, I will say boldly on this video that I've not met a gentleman who is so passionate. Of course, myself. Of course, I've met myself, but now I met him that is so passionate on issues of mental health, and more so when it comes to the boy child. Karibu sana, Bona, switch and introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Bona Musa. It is an exciting day being in this set, particularly discussing this matter. My name is Willie Switch, and I am a branding consultant. But I'm so super passionate about mental health issues, and not just passionate. We are actively engaged in bringing solution to our community, and we are hoping, or rather, with some steps or other actions that we've taken, it is yielding some fruits. And thank you for organizing this kind of candid conversation that we can have with the members of our community. And sure, if we come together, the professional and every other stakeholder on board, we are definitely going to find a solution. Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. And I want to start actually this conversation with you, sir. Why are you so passionate on the issues of mental health? Why are you so passionate? Because when the first day I met you, I remember I met you and two other gentlemen. You choose to share with me on issues of mental health. Why are you so passionate about it?
Simply put, there is no health without mental health. No matter how financially healthy you think you can get, minus mental health, you are not there. No matter how socially healthy you think you can be, without mental health, you are out. And any other areas of health we consider important, mental health is primary. And you look at the business community, for us who hire people to help us to do several work, beside the CV and other qualification, you want to be sure that person who you are engaging is mentally sound. Definitely, we don't choose how healthy we are, but it is an issue when you recognize that you need to, to be fit mentally as you are, academically and other qualification, simply put. And the mental health, according to the description of, the experts, they say it is the well-being of the whole person in more than 5 aspects. Yes. And so without being mentally, when you are mentally unwell, it means that you are not able to deliver or meet expectation as it is required of you. From individual expectation to other external expectation, who are people who are expecting you to do several things or tasks. So when you are okay, so to answer your question is, because I dream or envision a world whereby we have embraced the being mentally sound, and it is normal, and it is primary basic requirement. Thank you.
Najua kwamba Kizungu sometimes kina sound vizuri sana. Feel free to engage our viewers also in Kiswahili, kwa sababu wale wengi wanaotusikiza wanajua kwamba tunaongea mambo ya kujitoa uhai, kujiua actually. Let's call it like it is, kujiua. Yes. Na tunataka tuchimbue chini, although najua tutafika katika ile mizizi siku ya leo, lakini tuchimbue, tujiulize ni kwa nini watu wengi wanajiua. Lakini kabla tuje kwa expert atuambie, Kat, why are you so passionate on the issues of mental health? Ni kwa nini wewe kwa sababu wakati nilikujua pia, wakati tumekutana pale Zoom, wakati wa COVID-19, nilisikia uko na sana hiyo kutaka kuongea kuhusu mambo ya vile watu wanavyosumbuka kimawazo. Je, ni nini imekusukumia kuwa na hiyo? Apart from kuwa unasoma psychology na counseling, je, why are you so passionate on issues of mental health?
So for me, I think it just started it was in 2012. I'll give my story, same way that you've given your story. Around 2012, it was a depressive year for some reason. And it was that period where I had a problem with my eyes, and I was on so many medication that I felt the need for, that silence. I wouldn't say I was going for suicide, but I was going for silence, So for me, it's a personal reason. Again, I have friends who've gone through, there was around the same period, we were all going through depression for some sad reason. And you find that you don't know how to talk to people about it. Fortunately, my mom is also a counselor, so I was able to communicate with her. But so many of us don't have the courage, and we don't have the people to talk about. And so for me, mental health is very important. I have also been affected with it. Not just depression, but also Alzheimer's. We have different mental illnesses, So it's something that we don't talk about it. Utapata unaona mtu barabarani unafikiria ni mwenda wazimu, but there is a problem for him to be there. So we are not getting to the root of the problem, and that is why I'm passionate about it. I want us to get to the root of the problem and how we can help other young people and even older generations to have that understanding that it is okay to not be okay, and it is okay to seek help. So that is why I'm passionate about it. I want people to be able to seek help, you know, and find peace.
Na tutakuwa tunajiuliza kama hii help inapatikana, kwa sababu again, as much as we tell people that tunahitaji kutafuta help, tutakuwa tunajiuliza, je, hii help inapatikana and how much is it? Kwa sababu pia inasemekana ya kwamba kutafuta help ni very expensive. Kabla ya tuje kwa Tabisua wa counseling psychologist atuambie is it possible to predict suicide, kabla tufike hapo, kuna kitu Kata metaja kuhusu wale watu wanatembea barabarani wakijiongelesha. Mimi nimezaliwa nikiona wazee na wamama, na hata siku hizi mimi nimekutana na kijana akiwa mbele yangu juzi pale town na Nyuki na anajiongelesha. Does that mean that is a symptom of a problem? Je, kama wewe kama expert unaweza tuambia vipi mtu anaenda tu kwa barabara akijiongelesha?
Thank you for that question, and thank you for the contribution of Willie and Kat on their passion, especially on mental health. And just like you said, you find yourself having pressing thoughts. That's the word I would use. Now, unapata mawazo ni mengi. Even before you finish one thought, another one has come. And at times, that's also a symptom for you to say, let me just talk to someone. I've been trying to finish a thought to the end. It's not possible to end it. And I just want to know what's happening. And at times, even that question, because at times we think that going for professional help is until you are out on the streets, maybe collecting papers, but doesn't have to get there. Even the moment you just feel like, I just want to know what I need to do in the next 1 week.
Hapo kwa collect papers.
Yes.
We have so many people kwa street zetu ambao wana collect makaratasi.
Yes.
And I want to put you on spot as an expert. Do you think hawa watu labda hata shida yao si kubwa sana in case wangekuwa wametafuta usaidizi?
Yes, in case they also got proper treatment. And just like Kat said, there are many types of mental illnesses.
Yes.
And if someone gets the proper help, after your collect papers will end. But it's a very patient process. You need to get the right person to even just take you through that.
Asante sana. Sasa tuambie, is it possible to predict suicide? Kwa sababu watu wale wanatuangalia wako pale nyumbani. Uko na mtu ambaye ako na mentally disturbed.
Yes.
Is it possible to predict that huyu mtu kuna possibility atajishuria, atachukua kamba aweke kwa shingo, ama atachukua dawa akunywe, so that we can be able to, kwa sababu we are talking about the solution based conversation. Is it possible to predict suicide?
Yes, it's very possible to predict suicide. I'll mention a few, and then my partners can also add.
Yes.
These are what we are talking about, the signs and symptoms. Number one, if you feel someone is talking constantly about death, someone is actually verbalizing it and telling you, by the way, I am thinking of committing suicide. And let the conversation not just end at that point.
Yes.
They'll even tell you, I have actually purchased kama ni kamba, or I've purchased my medication, or those constant talks about death are there. Another sign is also the person is also posting. They're just not talking about it. Or maybe they're also not talking about it, but they have written about it. So that's also another sign.
Then that one becomes, so that I give Kat and Bona Switch to contribute. We have so many people who are writing on their WhatsApp that nimechoka na maisha, hii maisha ni ngumu, sijui nini. If that then is the sign, then many of us sick. Bona Switch, is it possible for someone to predict suicide?
I'd say yes, it is.
Yes.
Before somebody commits suicide, the conversation usually start way kabla hajafika hapo. So it is traceable. Mtu wanga anaongea, sisi wenye anaambia ama tumemkaribia tunafikiria ni jokes, na tunakosa kuichukulia na umakini. In fact, we don't even seem to care. We brush it away very easily.
Watu wana make jokes kwa the same comment hapo kwa Facebook.
Yes. Anakuambia wewe, then we try to contrast what you are going through against what we think the individual is going through.
Akikufa tunakuja kwa mazishi tunalia.
Unamwambia sasa hiyo vitu tudogo tunakusumbua na kuna mtu ako na nini ama me I went through this. So we do not empathize with the individual to get to his level to know. So if you asked if it is predictable, yes it is. You can tell this person. Na every case we have ever handled, or rather hata kwa community yetu utasikia huyo mtu ilikuwa inasemekana alikuwa anasema. Sasa wale ambia ni akina nani, kulifanywa nini na alipata usaidizi gani? And that is the effort we need to to raise up, ya kuambia mtu tukisikia anaongea hivyo, a teenager, msimwambie is too young to be stressed, tusimwambie is so young to hiyo kitu hiyo usidharau. We can point out to a place he can go.
Asante sana Bwana Switch. Kat, what do you think? Unafikiria watu labda unaweza predict kwamba watu, wewe ni mtu ambaye uko Instagram sana na imekuwa said statistics that most of the teenagers, vile ametaja wale wanajiua, wako Instagram na wanajinyongea Instagram. Hata wengine wanaweka kwa video, wanaonyesha wengine wanajinyonga. Do you think it is possible to predict huyu mtu huyu kuna uwezekano watajinyonga na anahitaji tumtafutie usaidizi? What do you think?
I think you can see the signs, yes, as they are coming. No, even change of behavior. Was probably a very jolly person. As you say, I post on Instagram a lot. Then all of a sudden I'm going MIA. Unajua, nimeanza kujiseclude yani. That is also a symptom, I believe, Tabesuya. You can see the change of behavior when someone becomes different. Or even like, nimeanza kukunya. It's not even only about talking about it or threatening or saying, I'm gonna do it. I can now become an alcoholic all of a sudden. Unajua, I take 1 glass of wine, then the next thing you see, I'm taking 3 bottles in a sitting of 1 hour. You can see change of behavior, and that is where you start and sit down and ask, why is it? Why are you drinking so much? Unajua, ukishaanza have your conversation, kuuliza mtu hiyo swali, ndio mtu pia ana feel comfortable enough ku open up. So change of behavior.
Are we saying then, Kat, that we as a society lazima tuwe very conscious of the behaviors of our friends? Because more often than not, we live in a society that we don't care. Hata hauja note, mtu aliacha kunywa glass moja na kunywa chupa 3, unafikiri ni pesa amepata. Kwa hivyo, what we are saying, and that is a very important point for us to note, ladies and gentlemen, that ukiwa na rafiki yako, alikuwa akona behavior fulani na sasa ameanza kubadilisha. Labda huyu ni mtu ambaye alikuwa anakunywa chupa moja ama 2, and in this broadcast we don't advocate on drinking. But alikuwa anakunywa chupa moja ama 2. Sasa anakanyanga kireti, anamaliza. Anakanyanga kireti ingine, anamaliza. Si pesa ako nayo. Hapa kunaweza kuwa na shida. Sasa go ahead.
I guess
and feel free to jump in if you will need to comment on anything.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Reckless behavior is also, and it can be what Kat has mentioned, the drinking, also reckless driving, like you're putting your life at risk. That's also another symptom that you can see. Also another one that people often miss out is the person has all of a sudden started giving out their possessions. Alikuwa na nguo, amekuja, nimepea Switch, nikamwambia hii nataka uende upe so and so. Then they allow kama wanagawa vitu pole pole. So that's also another sign. Also, all of a sudden someone has been MIA, they have been living a reckless life, they are not eating well or they are eating too much. Then all of a sudden they have become good. They are now looking like they are motivated for life. Hizo thoughts alikuwa anasema about suicide ni kama zimepotea kidogo. That's also now a warning sign that actually it's about to happen. And I guess you're going to help us try and think about what makes people act well when actually they are just about to take suicide.
Actually, it's like you saw my next question, because you find, Bona Switch, Kat and Tabesu, that sometimes we are looking only on the negative symptoms of suicide. Switch amekuwa mtu ambaye amekuwa mkonongamu. Na sasa all of a sudden analipia kila mtu, anakukuta kwa line ya supermarket na anakuambia Musa tujaonana for you see, I may think he's being kind. Ati ana swipe ananilipia bili yangu. Kidogo kidogo unasikia mwingine naye anasema, ai leo hata nimekutana na Mr. Switch, hata tuna post naye, tunapigwa picha. All of a sudden he commits suicide, and may God forbid. So what do you think? You start, then you give Kat and Mr. Switch. What do you think when someone becomes good? Now how sasa hiyo inakuwa even more tricky, because before you, hata Wakikuyu wanasema before it is morning, that is when it is very dark, and sometimes hata mtu yule anaenda kukufa anapona. I've heard of cases, you leave someone on the wheelchair, unasema mimi niko sawa, enda uite daktari, ukirudi alijaenda. So what do you think about that when it comes to the mental health? Wacha nipatie Mr. Switch kwanza. What do you think about that?
As strange as it sounds, that somebody can be too generous,
yes,
at the blink of his death, that behavior, I think we need to educate our members of community, of the society, about now observing those kind of detail change of behavior and patterns of life, because it is true, we have always associated suicidal cases with the only negative kind of actions and talk, and literally I have known here, thank you Tabisu, that we also, now I'm connecting the dot. Some people try to be very good, very nice. In fact, people who have never been out for the club, they ask you, the whole age group, let's go out. And then after a few days. So I have never seen that we have a positive side of element that we can trace.
Yes.
So licha ya kuwa mimi wananiita champion wa mental health, na mimi sijui hiyo, how much more are people outside there unaware of such kind of
the almost positive side of suicide.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that is now where we salute you, Musa,
Asante,
because of this kind of conversation.
Right.
Because if it continues, we'll even be able to uncover and unravel other things or elements that can help us, or rather guide us to the light.
What do you think about that, Kat? Ati mtu si lazima akue amelala, hataki kwenda out. Sasa ukienda mtu hata hajai kununulia, anakwambia Kat, kunywa mpaka uende na magoti. What do you think about that?
You know, first of all, as Tabesu has said, it's change of behavior. I was excluding myself.
Yes.
Okay, we start with I was jolly.
Yes.
I exclude myself. Then all of a sudden I'm back. You know, I think it is sad, but it is a way of someone. It's a way of saying goodbye. If you look at it, it's a way of someone. You know, I want to leave you with good memories. When I go, you know, you don't have to mourn that much. And it happens even with people who are passing away, not just in suicide, but if you do your research or if you talk to people, when someone is about to die, they're very nice.
Yes.
They're very good. They call you, they want to talk to you. Yes. You know, they look like they're well, but the next minute they're gone.
And since this one is not a natural cause of death, that is why we need to have these conversations. Na tuwe waangalifu sana. Rafiki yako amekuwa depressed for over an year, and all of a sudden anakuwa jolly, anakuwa na furaha, anakuwa na si ati ametembelea kituo ama akaenda akapata msaada. Tuseme alikuwa anasumbuliwa na loans, hajalipa hata hizo loans, kwa sababu pia tunakuja kwa the reasons that are making many people take their lives ama wa commit suicide. Na unapata tuseme loans ama zile apps ziko kule kwa mtandao zinafanya watu wengi sana wapate depression, kwa sababu umechukua loans kila mahali, unaitishwa kila mahali, na unafikiria ni kama unataka kujitoa uhai. Si ati umelipa hizo deni, lakini all of a sudden una party, all of a sudden you are everywhere. So hiyo pia ni risk kubwa sana, na marafiki lazima tuwe waangalifu. Hebu tuende kwa pahali watu wengi hawataki tuongee kuhusu. Ni kwa nini? Na hii nitaanza na Bwana Switch, then kuje kwa mtaalamu wetu. Bwana Switch, kuna shida kwa wanaume
kabisa.
Kuna shida kwa wanaume. Kwa wale 8 nilikuambia, hapana msichana. There is no girl. All of them are men. Why is it so simple ama ni kwa nini wanaume wengi ndio wanaojitoa uhai kuliko ladies? Why? Na hata inasemekana the ladies wanajaribu kujiua mara 3 ya wanaume, but wale wanafanikiwa ni wanaume. Kwa hivyo wanaweka dose kubwa, kamba wanafunga vizuri, mwanaume akiattempt almost 100% of them wanafanikiwa. Why do you think is so? More so in our country?
First of all, I would say ile jambo moja ninafikiria inasababisha tukue na watu wengi wanajitoa uhai. It is having so many unmet expectations that push them to frustration, to a point of that hopelessness. Na they can't figure out the way out. Now that subject them to vitu anashindwa. Sasa mimi nitaenda kuambia mwanaume mwingine shida zangu. Sasa mimi then how we socialize men from a young age. We silence them not to mask their feelings, their emotions. And so they are left with like what I think is right is what I'm going to do. Because hata nikiwaambia I'll be told shut up, man up, see, all manner of things. Loan kwani ni wewe wa kwanza kukua nayo. And the world naturally is a little bit harsh on men. And I'm not saying that is an excuse, our viewers. What we are pointing out is that the ratio ya wale wanaume hata kabla wajajinyonga, wale wanagonjeka ugonjwa ya kimawazo inawafinyilia sana. Hata kama haitaenda to suicide, men wanalemewa kwa sababu ya kutopata nafasi ya kuji-express. Zile vitu zinasababisha mimi jibu langu ni ya kuwa kuna matarajio personal. There's thing I expect of myself bana. At this age, there are things I wanted to have done by now. Sasa hiyo pressure iko ndani somewhere inanisumbua. Then there's my wife. The things she's expecting me. And then there is my children. Then there is my, my parent. Everybody has expectation. And then there's my boss. Hizo pressure zote, and I do not have a coping mechanism or way to deal with that. I isolate myself, and then eventually it's sad.
From a man's perspective,
yes,
kuna pressure ya wife.
Yes.
Already kwanza si ya wife yako wewe mwenyewe. Kenya ulikuwa unataka kuachieve by now.
By now.
Kuna wife, kuna society.
Yes.
Na kuna watu wale wengine wote at large.
Yes.
Hold that thought. I'll be coming to ask you, how do we get out of that? Because again, this is a solution-based conversation. How do we get out of that? Kat, wanaume ndio wengi kuliko ladies. Why do you think from your personal perspective ya kwamba as much as ladies hata wanajaribu kujitoa uhai, men wengi ndio wanafanikiwa? Nafikiri kadozi kanaenda juu kidogo. So what is your personal perspective ya kwa nini wanaume wengi ndio wanajitoa uhai?
Well, personally, I think, just to ride on what Mr. Switch has just told us, men have, it's a cultural thing, and not just African culture, but even worldwide, where we have high expectation for men. Naturally, as human beings, we are used to men being providers. Even before us women started working, men were the one who brought bread home, and women were the ones who made home. You know? So kuna hiyo pressure ya mwanaume kuwa the provider. So you find that he has too much on his plate, and he doesn't have an outlet to speak about it. For instance, you as a father, Musa, and you have a wife, you have a child, they all have expectations. You need to pay school fees, and you need to provide for the house, the bills, you need to pay them. Then let's say your parents and Tabesu's parents, they call, oh, sijua kuna unga kwa nyumba, ama shamba imefanya hivi, nini imeibiwa. Still on you, yeah? You need to provide for that. Then kidogo, your brother or your sister or your cousins call you, nimefukuzwa shule. Still on you. You know, men have too much on their plate, and it's just a cultural thing where men have been brought up to not speak about their problems, to be a man. That's what tunasema, yeah? Be a man. Kuwa ngumu, yani unajua teseka kufa hivyo ndio watu wanasema.
Kufa dereva kufa makanga.
Yes, so it's unfortunate, but it's the pressure that we have that is already put on men, and just as he has said, from a very young age, as a young boy, you're already taught to be that type of man. You're already taught to be the provider. You're already taught mwanaume anafaa kufanya hivi. So I think it's just the pressure. Inafika point I just can't do it anymore. Let me just take my life.
Wacha niende. Sasa wacha tuje kwa counseling psychologist wetu kwa siku ya leo. Tuambie, what do we do? What do we do? There is expectation, my personal expectation. There is what my wife expects. There is what my young man, Kaden expects. There is what my mother anatarajia mimi nifanye. Kuna ile society inaniangalia inaona, Musa man up. Musa wewe kuna vile ufiki ile level Musa, wewe ni mwanaume. You know, that thing ati wewe ni mwanaume. You find that wanaume 8 wamejiua na nyuki within a week. You know, so what do we do? As we go to Mr. Switch, man, atatuambia, men, what do we do? You know, tuweke atia. You know, what do we do? Because all is not well. Our counseling psychologist, what do we do?
Thank you for that question. And I guess the first one is we need to also normalize. And by normalize, I mean we need to make it normal to create boundaries for ourselves. For as much as culture has made us know that you are supposed to take care of everything. You have your family, kuna extended family, kuna majirani, kuna shule, there's all that. It's also the high time for you as a man to create and draw the line of boundaries. And by boundaries inamaanisha, focus on what is within your control. What is not within your control, wachana nayo. For as much as it is hard, at times we are like, wacha nikope, nisaidiane. Lakini kama unajua hauwezi, ni sawa kusema hapana. And you don't have to push yourself for it. So boundaries. Number 2, we also need to seek help. Talk to someone. Hata kama umeambiwa kaa ngumu, tafuta mtu, na sio tu rafiki, because at times we go to our friends, but our friends will listen to us and then go tell another person, oh fulani aliniambia kukaenda, but seek professional help.
Kabla ya tuende kwa Bwana Switch, seek professional help. Nataka kutambua Tracy Kaburu anasema yes, it's okay not to be okay, and this topic is not and should not be a taboo. Then tuna Bwana John Jue kutoka kule Frontiers. Na wewe Frontiers, next time we partner in this so that you can be one of our sponsors. Na pia unasema great, na unasema Frontiers restaurants were represented. Huyu ni Chef John. Tunaona Bwana Kiarie pia na Bwana Evanovich anaangalia. Na pia naona Nkiro Kaburu anasema I love the confidence of Kathomi Kaburu. Asante sana. Kwa hivyo tunaweza mfanya akuje mara nyingi ako na confidence. Asante sana. Na pia wale wote wanaangalia, na pia nataka kutambua Bwana Ole Fidel ambaye anatusaidia kumake sure kwamba as many people as possible wamefikiwa na hii. Unaweza kutuandikia comment yako pale katika Facebook, na uhakikishe kwamba unatuambia ukitizama ukiwa wapi, na utuambie tutafanya nini kuzuia watu wetu wengi as much as possible kuweza kujiua. Ukiangalia hata kule secondary sasa mambo haya yameanza kuingia, kule primary unakuta hata vijana wadogo sana wanajitoa uhai. What do we do? And more so when it comes to the boy child. Nasema hivyo kwa sababu pia mimi ni mtetezi wa watoto vijana, na sisemi hivyo kwa sababu mimi nalea mtoto kijana. Hata before nilikuwa ni mtetezi wa watoto vijana. Lakini Bwana Switch, tufanye nini? What do you think we do apart from what tumeambiwa na our counseling psychologist? Tufanya nini ili tuweze kusaidia wanaume wetu?
Ya kwanza, part of what we can do is what you are doing at this show. Kuongea.
Right.
Juu watu wengi hasa huko nje, mimi have been going to high school to address mental health issues, and you realize that when you have an audience of both men, girls and boys, girls are more attentive and to the details on what we are talking about. But for men, we have this tendency, I think it's ego, we have figured it out already, ama figure out tukifika hiyo story. So they are like less interested. However, katika hii maongeo, kijana moja nilipata anajua sana kuhusu mental health and other related condition, or disorders nikamuuliza hizo zote umejulia wapi? Ale kugugu brother. So acha tuongee, huenda mtu wa Google part of solution, mtu akikuwa na hii challenge atafanya aje. Now to men, stop manning up for everything. It is fine to be vulnerable and to say I can't or this is beyond me, and make your dependents wanaitwa dependents au wajue pia uko na limitation. And number 2, I'm not going to ask you to lower your expectation. I'm going to ask you to try to manage the expectations, because eventually there's that fulfillment when every man realizes a goal. Particularly a young, when you are younger, you set a goal, and now you achieve it in my 20s, in my 30s. Amen, it's an achievement.
Right.
And equally, angalia hiyo kitu inaweza kucost nini. There's no point of achieving your goal at expense of your life.
Right.
Na counselor atakuambia hivyo, that it is fine even to fail. You know, then the other thing is tumefanya kufail kwa biashara, kwa elimu, kwa anything like it is like it's a death sentence. It is very fine to fail and not to achieve, at least in the first attempt, but try again.
It is okay to fail.
Yes.
And that is what many people don't want to say today. Now, so that we don't dwell a lot on the boy child, because again here we want a balance.
Yes.
Cut. As much as we are saying men are the most that are committing suicide, pia wasichana wana commit suicide. Tumeona hata madaktari karia yake iko katika upeo, na unakuta daktari mwanamke katika nchi yetu tumeona 2 3 wana commit suicide. Je, unafikiria Kat, ni sababu zipi pia zinafanya the ladies pia wa commit suicide, na what are the possible solutions? Unaweza tuambia why 1 or 2 reasons why you think the ladies are committing suicide, na pia suggest what do you think is the possible solution?
So maybe one of the biggest reasons why people commit suicide, this is including ladies, is probably because of, let's say, social media. Unaingia pale Instagram ama Facebook ama Twitter, whatever channel that you use, yeah, and you find that your friends or even strangers that you don't know are living their best life. They're traveling, they look like they're making it in life, and you're the same age with these people, you went to the same schools, you either performed better or you actually performed good in school, or maybe even not good, but you're wondering, hey, I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. I have gone through all the steps that I'm supposed to do. So why am I not as successful as this person? So you find that you've put an expectation of how you're supposed to be at a particular stage of life, or unaona tu watu wana make it kwa life na wewe make it. So inakuingisha hiyo uchungu, inaanza kukufrustrate. Again, you start thinking about all your problems. You start taking loans that you don't actually need so that you can live this life. You start getting sugar daddies, sponsors, so that you can live this life. You find that you're trying to be someone that you're not, and at the end of it all, you find that imefika to point you cannot manage it, you can't do it anymore, and unataka ku end it all. And that is, at that point is where you find that most people decide to take their own life. That is one reason. Again, also the loans, the expectation from friends and families. You're the sole provider of a certain home. Inafika to point you can't do it anymore, and instead of saying no or seeking help, you decide that let me just nimalizane nayo, wacha niache kuwa burden to other people. Let me not be a burden. I'm a burden to myself. Let me stop being a burden. So maybe to prevent this, Musa, I would suggest live your own life. Unajua, don't compare yourself to other people. That is the first thing. The first mistake that we make is comparing my life to probably Tabesu. She's here, she's beautiful, she's successful, she has a husband. Hey, who is Kathomi? you know.
Kwani Mungu ananichukia aje?
Kwani Mungu bana, and I go to church, you know. So I have that, comparing myself with her. Obviously, she is a different person. She probably has her own problems, and she, you know, she's not showing it to me. But mimi naona ako hapo mbele. Najua nimejicompare sana na yeye na different people. Najifrustrate to a point where stuck it. So let's stop comparing ourselves to other people. Let's stop taking loans that we don't need. Unajua kama ni loan ya kununua shamba ni sawa juu uko na means ya kulipa, lakini loan ya kwenda Dubai
tuachane na hiyo. You know? Na pia ile tunasema there is a possibility we are a very sad society. Tumejificha nyuma ya emojis, tumejificha nyuma ya picha nzuri. Kwa sababu kama sasa kuna jamaa kwa pande ile nyingine anachukua picha nzuri sana za kamera na ata edit picha inawekwa pale, picha nzuri inawekwa pale social media, unasema Musa make it. Na kumbe Musa ako na kaloni kana msumbua. Kumbe ni filter imedungwa filter nzuri sana, wewe unafikiria Musa make it. Wacha nikwambie, sisi celebrities chakula zingine tunakula na kati ni witness, atulipi, tunaenda tunakula for free ndio to market some of these places. Na wacha nikwambie, wewe unaona mimi nimekula chakula, wewe unaenda pale unachukua loan uende ukakule chakula. My friend, ishi maisha yako. Hebu niulize hii swali Kata ametaja. And this is a question that has been asked by very many people. Wacha niulize professional. Is committing suicide selfish? Kwa sababu watu wengi wanasema commit suicide is selfish. What do you think? Is it selfish or not?
I would say it's not selfish from a professional point of view. Because the individual has got to that point of feeling life is meaningless, life is not hopeful, life has no future, and there's nothing good that can come out of them. And for as much as many people will feel like it's a selfish trait, at times the person doing that, it has taken a lot of courage for them to get to that point. So we need to also reach out for them and seek help on their behalf, so that we can help them gain that insight and see that all is not lost. Mm-hmm.
Switch, who do you think is at highest at risk more so in Kenya? Kwa mataifa mengine kama mataifa ya kule nje, Marekani na pia UK, kwa sababu wao wanachukulia sana important hii conversation ya mental health. Who do you think kwa dakika moja tu ama sekunde chache is at highest risk and why?
The person who is at the highest risk is me and you.
That's a good answer.
Because there was no like a specific type of people wanalemewa na hii challenge. It's literally everybody.
Right.
The learned, the illiterate, the jobless. In fact, Musa, kuna watu walikuja pale wakatuambia kumbe hii kitu si story na utajiri. Because some people who you think they are well or up there in the society radar or ranking, you realize that they commit suicide and they have challenges as well. So in a nutshell, I'd say every person is equally at risk. However, based on the numbers that we have, particularly the reference we have of 8 people in one town last week, they are all between the age 15. I don't think there is anyone above 50 years.
Yes. So, actually a research was done, and it was between 15 and 35.
Yeah.
So it is that youthful age. Kat, let me put you on spot on this one. What do you think is between 15 and 35? Because taking those statistics, there are statistics outside there that has been done by World Health Organization, but looking at our situation here in Nanyuki, watu wa kutoka miaka 15 hadi 35. Nashukuru Mungu mimi siko hapo. Nashukuru nimepita na miaka kadhaa. So, why do you think? Kwa nini unafikiria hapa kwetu Nanyuki Laikipia vijana wa kutoka 15 hadi 35, na wewe kati huko hapo ndani, sitaki kuambia miaka yako ni ngapi, lakini why do you think that is the age?
Probably, personally, I would say is different reasons. You know, 15, it's teenagehood. 15 to, let's say, 19, teenagers. So, kuna kwa na stress ya shule, kuna stress ya wazazi, pita mtihani. You find your friends are also maybe bullying you. Yeah. Then if we go to 20 to 29 to 35 years, kuna wenye tuko jobless, you know. We have our expectations, as Mr. Switch had said before, that we want to be here at a certain age and we're not there. So you find that is a frustration that we have. There's what I talked before. I am comparing myself with other people. There are different reasons that would make someone decide nimechoka yani.
Nafikiri tumeconcentrate sana na mimi na wewe na sisi age yetu. Wazazi, what do they do? What are they doing wrong, or should they do? We start with Tabesu. Kwa sababu sisi tunapoongea, wale wengi wanatuangalia pale hawako 15 years. Ni 18 and above, wale ambao wako nyumbani. Vijana wetu wakiwa pale shuleni primary, na actually when this program is going on live, they're in school. They may never see this video. What are we doing wrong as a society? Na tufanye nini kama wazazi? Kwa sababu Bwana Switch, mtoto wa class 7 haamuki tu na kuchukua kamba. We are in a society that watoto wanamejua kubagain. Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunakuwa ni when we were growing up and your mother would tell you jump, you would ask how high. These days kid nikimwambia jump ananiuliza why. So I have to give the reason. What do you think na tufanye nini kama wazazi? Na kwa sababu this video will reach the adults. What about the children? Sisi kama wazazi, what are we doing wrong and what are we supposed to do?
One thing is learn to talk to your children. You hear a child comes to you and they say, the last time my mother got into my room, or my dad, or someone asked me how I am, I just can't remember when that was. And some of us are too busy. We have got into the too busy syndrome. We are too busy with every other thing, and we forget that those who are within our houses are also important. So talk. Another thing is also our expectations. At times it's also good to leave room, just like Mr. Switch said, room for failure. We are not saying that failing is okay.
Yes.
But we need to know that hata kama mtu hajafika expectation yangu kama caregiver ama as a member of the family, we can always navigate and we can always talk about it. So talk. And also don't just be there for material things. Be there also physically. Because you'll hear many people saying, I just want your physical being. I want your presence. And at times, yes, you're going to take us for a trip. Yes, we will enjoy, but if you will just be here with us to just listen to how we are feeling, that will make much of a difference.
Na hiyo bado inaingilia si kwa watoto tu wala wako primary, pia wale teenagers, kwa sababu I find 18 and 19 also, although they are adults, they are still living with mama, they are still living with daddy.
Or even in campus,
18 and 19 is still teenage. I want to appreciate one of the teenagers that is watching. I'm just kidding, Christina Minor. Christine Minor, thank you so much. Help us share the video. And also Peter Karis is saying it is definitely okay not to be okay. And also Christine Sheiks Minor says it's okay not to be okay. Bwana Switch, talk to the parents.
Our dear parents, stop demonizing somebody being unwell. Especially, take good care of what they are saying, how they are feeling, their emotion. Don't even try to paint a picture that they are so weak when they are saying they're experiencing this and that. Like you even actually, a parent, we miss it or lose it when we block completely. We block or lock them out to a point that they cannot have a conversation. And when they want to talk to us, they also they master the art of managing us as parent. So they will let you know what they want you to know.
Right.
And what is the real issue, you will not know until when it's too late. And then you'll be like blaming yourself. Kwani where was I? What happened? As in, na mi msichana nilikuwa naona tu ako sawa. Kijana nilikuwa nafikiria ako sawa. So I would say to a parent, learn to listen. Some of these people, they go to social media because they have freedom to express. Because when they try at home, you're not attentive. When they try to with some leaders, they end up being judged. And so they don't have a safe haven. They don't have a safe space to express themselves. So please, kindly, our parent, when you give them your attention, really be interested. Not to show you are interested, be interested.
Kabisa, be interested as a parent. Kat, wewe ni mzazi ambaye unayekuwa. Kwa sababu already wewe ni mzazi. What do you think wazazi wanakosa? Kwa sababu pia wewe umekuwa kama teenager. Probably what would be your advice kwa wazazi ili kusaidia watoto wao kutokujiua? Kwa sababu, na ninakuja hapo, we are living in a very sad society. We don't listen to each other. And I'm coming to give you an example of how even you seated here, sometimes you don't listen to others. I'm coming to that. But Kat, what do you think to advise wazazi wetu kule nje kuhusu watoto wetu?
My advice to parents would be create time for your children. Being there physically is not just enough. Sit down, have a conversation, ask them how their day was. Illness si naumwa na tumbo pekee, ama naumwa na kichwa, ama nimevunjika mkono. Pia akili can be sick.
Right.
Yeah? So we need to nurture that. We need to be a safe place for our children. Where they can come and tell us, Mommy, ama Daddy, I am going through this and this and this. And as I mentioned before, if it wasn't for my mom being a counselor and opening the space for me and probably even my siblings, I don't think I would be here. I would probably be stressing out or doing other things. So even maybe I would have taken my own life. So she created a safe place where we could go and talk to her about our own problems aside from school.
Right.
So my advice to parents is take time to know your child and nurture them to be their best. Usieke pressure necessary zenye haziko, na hata akianguka usimkome ama ni kumkemea. Sorry. Usimkeme. Just get to understand why this has happened and then advise on the way forward without having to be like, umefanya nini? Unajua usimfanye feel less of a human being because they are still human beings.
Believe it or not, it's 3 minutes to midday. We'll add some 10 minutes that we stole from the beginning so that we can finish 15 minutes past midday. Imagine it has almost been an hour. That is how this conversation important it is. You don't even know when time is moving. I want you to think about something. Pia wale ambao wanatusikiza pale nje, I want you to think about something. Wakati ambapo unapigia mtu simu, how do you call someone? Most of us katika society yetu, unapigia mtu tu simu, hutaki kujua ako wapi, hutaki kujua anafanya nini, hutaki kujua amelala vipi, unamwambia ni aje? Ile deal ni aje? That is a society we are living in. Hatuchukui hata nafasi ya kuuliza mtu, je, how are you? How are you? That is an important question that our society tuna ignore. Unapopigia, na Mr. Switch will be a witness, and even Kat, I call them this morning. One thing that nimepractice kama mwanadamu ni kwamba ukipigia mtu, haujui kama alilala hospitali, haujui kama aliamkia mzazi akiwa mgonjwa, haujui kama ndugu yake ni mgonjwa, unaamkia tu na kusema ani aje, aweni, probably, and you will agree with me wale ambao wanatuangalia, sometimes unapigia mtu simu, unakuta ile conversation mnafanya sio ile ilikuwa imekusend. That is what many people are yearning for. Many people are yearning for someone to listen to them. I know friends who I call, and kabla nimwambie kile mimi nilikuwa nimempigia, ananipatia stories za familia, ananipatia vile amezumbuliwa na bibi, vile azumbuliwa na watoto, vile sijui nini. That person was looking for a person to talk to. Before hata nifike mahali pa kumwambia, brother, nilikuwa nataka kukuuliza kama unaweza nikopesha 10,000. Hata hiyo kabla, already kama mwanadamu inanionyesha, this guy is more even stressed. Kwa hivyo mimi hata nachukua nafasi ya kumadvise kuliko vile msaada nilikuwa ninataka kwake. Na kwa hivyo hata by the time nifike kuuliza msaada wangu, already have done counseling. We might not all of us afford to come to the professional counseling, but we can all afford to be good listeners. Kwa sababu society yetu, most of us don't listen. The next time unapigia mtu simu, muulize, how are you? Uko vipi? And I don't ignore that one even to my boda guys. Hata ule mtu wa boda. Sitaki kupatiana example nyingi sana vile. Hata nishawaipigia mtu wangu mmoja wa boda. Akachukua simu yake akiwa analia. Yamuza, how are you doing? And that person, I will not share that story here because it is confidential. Unakuta huyo mtu yale mambo aliyokuwa nayo siku hiyo, kama hangepata mtu wa kuongea na yeye, hata ilibidi na ilikuwa karibu usiku ule wa manane, saa 10 ya usiku, niende nimtafute na nimuongeleshe. Hata nilichelewa na kazi hiyo siku, I used my 30 minutes kuongea na huyo mtu, na tumesimama kwa barabara. So what am I saying? Watu wengi, they are yearning for someone to listen to them. Are you going to be one of them? So Tabesu, wacha nikuulize, is it inherited suicide? Kwetu kuna mtu ambaye alijiua ama aliattempt suicide. Is it necessarily that mimi nitajaribu pia? Is it inherited kulingana na professionalism?
Suicide can also be genetic. By genetic it means...
Isn't it that dangerous?
By that it means when you have a mental illness, at times someone else in the family is prone. We say they are predisposed. So at times that is also the same as you hear a case has happened in this village, then 2 days later you hear another person has also committed suicide in the same village, and that is something that we call, whereby ni kama kuna kitu inaendelea. Many people will say ni uchawi, but professionally we don't use the word uchawi. It is chances that something has been triggered in them. A lying gene that was there inakuwa imeinuka. Also another thing to answer on that is also at times maybe I've been thinking about it, then I see it on the media, and it kind of like confirms that if someone else did it in Embakasi, I can also do it here.
Now that you're saying that is genetic, not to cut you short.
Yes.
What do we do with that? What do we do about that? What do we do about that it might be genetic? Tufanye nini?
So one thing that we need to do when it happens within a family, now someone has actually died out of suicide. Let's not ignore that. Immediately after tumefanya mambo ingine, or even during that period, let's have a professional come and have a family therapy. By family therapy, awareness is going to be created to that family so that other members of the family who may have probably not thought about it, but is actually now starting to even crop up, they can actually receive that help from there and gain awareness that it can actually happen to them. So family therapy, that's how we can actually...
Family therapy, it is very important. But a switch, family therapy, I'll tell you for a fact, it costs 5,000 and above.
Yeah.
What do we do to the cost? Because watu wengi wale wanatutizama wangependa sana kuenda kwa therapy. Can't even as you think about that. What do we do about the cost? Kwa sababu there is no free family therapy.
Absolutely.
Na watu wameenda shule kusomea hiyo. Na ninajua kwamba Kat na Tabesu, actually all of us here, tumeenda shule tukasoma na tunahitaji watu walipe hiyo service. What do we do to customize and make that thing affordable? Ama tutafanya nini about the cost?
Thank you, Musa. The other responsibility that we have as community, and us who are seated here, is to advocate to the government to make the services of mental health related disorder very affordable and accessible. In fact, that is a primary responsibility for me and my team, because family therapy at that cost, not so many families would afford that amount of money. And you see, it's not a one-off kind of event or session. Probably there will be follow-up sessions, and some medication in the process can be required. So until we make it affordable and accessible, and so how is by bringing it, or there's a word to bring it along with universal health coverage. And within those health center, we have a counselor or somebody who is able to dispense these services. And number two, this education must be done in our social setup, in the school, in our learning institution, in churches and mosques, and every other where people meet, even in market. When the government or either county or national are constructing a market, I see they do a sanitary block, and they can do a church, They should do a facility just near there. Somebody is stressed, amenyang'anywa pesa akiwa sokoni, what do you expect them to do? Anatoka hapo na hasira zingine unmanageable, anaenda anafanya vituko zingine huko enda. So as in the challenge we are facing is massive in scale. But the solution that is required is still within us.
Absolutely, na umenitoa maneno kwa mdomo. Anytime ukisikia Musa amenyamaza, Musa is not necessarily quiet. Yeah. Ukisikia Musa amenyamaza nataka uongee na hiyo kamera.
Yes.
Ndio hiyo isinki vizuri. Kat, unafikiria tutafanya nini? Kwa sababu as a society, hatuwezi sema ati kwa sababu therapy is expensive, we don't go for therapy. Apart from what he has said, and we need good framework. This morning, and I want to recognize Madam Wanjao. I was chatting with her in the morning, and that one came very strongly on my post, that we need framework, the government, from the county government, from the national government, so that we can make these services affordable to people. There are people who want to come for private sessions. What are waende? Those who can afford. But for our society, wale ambao afford, lazima hizo services zipatikane pale kwa dispensary. What do you think, Kat? What do you think we do about the cost?
The cost is expensive. Also, it's personally, I've been to therapy, and I believe maybe you guys remember I mentioned it at a Zoom meeting, and the first consultation was 3,000. No, I've
not been treated. That is consultation.
Before you enter the room, you're already paying 3,000, and then the next one is 2,525. Itafika point where me and all the things that I'm doing cannot afford to sustain the therapy because of the cost. I think what Mr. Switch has said is very important, that the government should make it an affordable thing. NHIF tuko nayo, let us include counseling as part of it. Yeah. I also think that churches should include it. The same way schools have guidance and counseling. Leo tumelipia kwa school fees. It's the same way churches should embrace counseling and maybe have a way where, like, different sessions, they get a counselor and they can do group therapy or something like that, where people can feel safe to open up about their problems. You know, something affordable. Because now if we start saying hatuwezi afford, then sisi wengi tunakufa nje juu hatuwezi lipa hiyo pesa. But as a community, we can come together and find a solution as like mentorship, what you people do. Maybe as a community, we can pay you to go and cancel a group of our kids.
Hapo sawa. Sasa hapo ni asante sana kwa kutufanyia marketing. Na nafikiri hiyo that would work because it's a societal problem. It is a societal problem, and we are also looking for food as people. We also want to put a food on the table. Absolutely. At the same time we want to help our society. And therefore I agree with what Kat anasema, kuja pamoja as a society, because if a therapy session would cost 3,000 like he's saying, why don't you come and support 30,000 and that one will support 10 sessions? And people who can't afford, after vetting, they can, because we know our people in the society. Me, I was born in a slum. And I'm proud of that. And the people in the slum, I know them, and they cannot be able to afford that. Therefore, even as we talk about therapy, we as a society lazima tufikirie, if these services are not at the dispensary level and they can be covered by NHIF, I wanted you guys to say that, it can be covered by NHIF, then we really are very far. Yes, go ahead, Bona Switch.
Then we appeal to the corporate.
Yes.
These persons who are affected, they are employed somewhere.
Right.
They work somewhere. So even the corporate sector has a responsibility to play, because a role to play. Because when you organize a session, a group therapy to your staffs, it is a massive boost.
Yes.
Because it will raise their productivity and the general wellness. It is nice when your staff who had a quarrel with his spouse come to work and later in the day,
right,
they are told kuna
mtu wenu wako hapa kujieni,
kuna mtu ataongea kuhusu hizo vitu zinawasinya,
right,
and Nisu, and she'll take them through and take off some of those burden.
Right.
And sasa ile kazi ingine tuko nayo Musa,
right,
ni ya sisi wenye tunaongea hii kazi. You go out there and you are told so many stories, very, and it just overburden you,
yes,
in some cases. And you try to gather your mind together and you cannot put them together.
Tunahitaji debriefing.
I tell you, we need debriefing. People now know that you address these kind of cases. I can't tell you in my office, you see, I said I'm a branding consultant.
Yes.
So people nowadays who are looking for me in that place, in my office, they are not like interested in branding.
They want you to advise them on mental health.
Yes, and I sometimes turn my office for a counseling room, and it's not conducive and it's not made for that work. So there's distraction.
Yes.
However, you understand that somebody comes with his daughter and unaongelesha huyu, utaongelesha huyu, usaidie huyu, and you're like, Mom, you need also to be together with at least within reach.
Yes.
Due tujue labda problem si yeye, ni wewe. Yeah? And sasa anakuambia maneno ya boma yake, kisha ya msichana wake, and you are left there wondering, oh God. So the problem, if we have, we get to reactive mode instead of proactive.
Yes.
And that doesn't help so much.
And actually that is, I want the expert to comment on that. And that is why also is very important. And that is why we have this conversation. Yes. Preventive. Because curative is very expensive. Now it take a lot of effort, it take a lot of energy. And guys, resources. We have to finish now. But I want our expert to comment on the same. On debriefing and the importance of debriefing. Then we'll have our final comment, and then I'll read some few comments from our viewers. We have one from Nakuru Gilbert watching. We have Christine Schick says, I still feel that as a society we need to stress more on this issue. People out here still don't understand anything related to mental health. And then there is a request in my inbox. I'll only use one name. My friend called Devi is asking if the same panel can come back and talk about depression. Depression is real, and depression leads to suicide. So we'll come and talk about that. So what do you think about debriefing?
I also wanted to echo what Mr. Switch has said, and also emphasize that as a professional who is giving the care and the services, you also need to go through something we call personal therapy. As a therapist, umesikiza, you also need time to also go and seek professional help. And the beauty about that, they have also subsidized. A professional have normally subsidized the price for you who is giving the services to also receive that help. So that usijipate wewe unajaribu kusaidia lakini unakuwa hata wewe client in the process. So it's part of self-care, so we need to also take care of ourselves. Organizations also who are dealing with various special cases and traumas, also it's important for you to debrief occasionally, to just know that you are human and you are not far from these things. So it's very important to keep taking care of yourself, even as you take care of other people. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, hatuwezi maliza mambo ya suicide, and that is why we are calling this only part 1. And I want to take this opportunity now to give my panelists each a minute to look at that camera or that camera, so that they can give their parting shot for this part 1. But tunasema hivi, ndugu zanguni na wale wote ambao wanatutizama, jameni, ni sawa kutokuwa sawa, na ni sawa kuongea na mtu, kwa sababu wengi wetu katika society wanasema mimi nikiambia Bwana Switch mambo yangu, labda Bwana Switch anaenda anaeneza. But wa Afrika na pia na wazungu walisema ya kwamba shida ambayo imeambiwa mtu mwingine inakuwa have solved. Na mimi nina believe hivi, mimi nitakwambia shida zangu, wewe ukitaka kwenda kueneza na kuandika Facebook. We are living in a society that nikikwambia shida yangu immediately unaenda kwa WhatsApp yako unaandika guy people are struggling. Mimi sijakwambia shida zangu uende uandike kwa WhatsApp yako status ati guy people are struggling. Nimekwambia shida zangu kwa sababu ninaumia katika moyo wangu. Let's be reasonable in a society ya kwamba mtu akishare. Na hii pia ninaambia wale ambao wako kanisani, usije ukaenda kuomba prayer item ambayo ni nikikwambia mambo yangu in secret, don't go make it a prayer item. Omba na roho yako. Usiende kuomba kwa public na kuambia watu, Mungu tunaombea Musa, unajua Musa anachapwa na bibi, Mungu unajua Musa ile shida anapitia yako na depression. Mimi sijakwambia uende utangaze. nimekuambia ili wewe uende upige magoti yako katika siri, kama vile Biblia inasema, go to your private room, enda upige magoti, ambia Mungu, usije ukaandika kwa status yako. And this is how we are going to start solving these issues, kwa sababu mambo ya mental health ni mambo ya hapa moyoni, inatoka hapa moyoni, inaenda kwa akili, na tukiwa tumejishikanisha na Mungu pia itakuwa very important. Lakini tujue ni lazima to seek for professional help wakati ambapo kuna wacha nianze na Bwana Switch, alafu tutaenda kwa Kat, alafu tutaenda kwa Tabesu as you make your final comments. Then this is only part 1 of suicide prevention. Bwana Switch.
Yeah, thank you very much. My parting shot will be, this conversation I've just started, and our appeal to the members of our society is, please let us normalize this, because when we begin to embrace, like acknowledge there's this challenge we are facing, that is the starting point of finding a solution, and we work together. We are calling an appeal multi-sectoral approach, and it would work if we do it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bwana Switch. Multi-sectoral approach. The church, the society, the schools, the government, and everyone of us. Kat.
My parting shot would be, it is okay not to feel okay, and it is okay to talk about your problems. You're not alone. I'm glad that we've started this conversation, and I hope it doesn't end with us after the camera is off. Let us talk about it beyond the cameras, beyond these 4 people seated here, and just feel okay to talk about it and be confident enough that there's someone out there who's ready to listen, and there's someone out there who's ready to help you through the trying times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat, for joining me. Tabesu.
My parting shot will be, it's always important for you to assess the severity of a person who has just hinted to you that they want to commit suicide. We have been given the authority and the power to also breach that confidentiality. And by breaching, I mean that you need to also involve someone who is close to them to support them. Usimwache tu alikuambia and then you kept quiet. So also link that person to help. If it is a doctor, if it is someone who is close to them who will work with them. And if they don't have any of that kind of person in their life, also be available for them. Listen to them, let them call you when those thoughts cross their minds, and together you can prepare to work with them in that journey. There is hope. Even when you feel that there is no hope or there is no reason for you to live, you have a lot of hope. And let's normalize talking about this, because it begins with us and we are all vulnerable. So let's not ignore these conversations, and I cannot thank you enough for allowing us to be this platform.
There is hope where seems to be no hope. There is no any other better place than to end it, kwa sababu kuna tumaini mahali ambapo panakaa ni kama hakuna tumaini. Nataka kuchukua fursa hii kushukuru sana my panelists Bwana Switch, Kat, na pia my wife Tabesu, kwa sababu ya kukubali kuja ku have this conversation. Najua kuna watu wengi ambao ningealika wakatae. Hakuna mtu kati yenu niliambia na simu ya kwanza akasema hapana. Nyinyi wote mlikubali haraka sana, na washukuru sana. Na pia mahali naomba ya kwamba nikiwaita tena mkubali kuja. Mtakubali kuja. Semeni pale kwa kamera mtakubali kuja. Asanteni sana. Yes. So nashukuru sana. Nataka pia kuchukua fursa hii. Hatungeweza kuwa live kama hakungekuwa watu on the other side of the camera. Nataka kuchukua fursa hii kuwashukuru sana our directors na production managers, walifika mapema kuhakikisha kwamba vyombo vyote viko salama. Nataka kushukuru Bwana Steve Njero kwa sababu ya your sacrifice. Nataka kushukuru Pastor Andrew Letsam kwa sababu pia ni fundi wa mitambo upande ule mwingine. Na pia leo tumepata production mwingine ambaye amejiunga na sisi, Tracy Kaburu. Asanti sana kwa sababu ya kuwa upande ule mwingine wa kamera. Bwana Emadhe, asanti sana. Na pia wale wengine wamehakikisha ya kwamba tumeweza kusikika. Na pia nataka kuchukua fursa hii in a very special way kumshukuru mke wangu kwa sababu ya ya kukubali kufanya hii pamoja nami, kwa sababu pia kama yangenipatia stress singeweza kuja hapa, ningekuwa na depression, niko huko nyumbani, lakini nashukuru kwa sababu yeye amenisupport. It is always very important for us to appreciate our spouses. Na pia nataka kushukuru Fidel wa Masai Leather Collections kwa sababu ya kukubali kushare hii video sana, na wale wote ambao wameshare, wale ambao wanatusikiza, chukua hii video, patia, share na mwenzako, kwa sababu that is how we do sensitization. This video will be up this evening on YouTube, na ili tuweze kushare na watu wengi zaidi vile ambavyo inavyowezekana. Nataka kuchukua fursa hii kuwashukuru sana wale wote ambao wametutizama kule katika Facebook. Asanteni for following the conversation, na wale ambao suggestions zenu pale katika inbox yangu nitaweza kufanya hivyo. Mimi nataka kumalizia kwa kusema, jameni, there is no more enough reason for you to commit suicide. As much as you can see right now that there is enough reason. Wewe unaona kama kuna enough reasons, lakini nakwambia yule tu aliyetoa maisha yake kwa ajili ya mwingine ni Yesu peke yake. Hakuna mwanadamu mwingine anapaswa kutoa maisha yake kwa mtu yule mwingine. Not you, not me. You may think you are solving problems kwa sababu ya kujiua, lakini absolutely you'll create more problems. Unawacha wale watu ambao unawaacha. Mimi nimeona watu ambao watu wao wamekufa kwa ajili ya kujiua. Jameni, wanaacha shida zaidi ya ile ambayo walikuwa wanafikiria wanasolve. Unamwacha mke wako na watoto wanateseka, wananyang'anywa shamba, wataishi milele kukumbuka hiyo picha katika akili yao. Kwa hivyo afadhali amka, toka kwa nyumba, tembea na miguu. Tembea na miguu, na kama haujasikizwa na mke wako, utasikizwa na watchman. Kama hujasikizwa na watchman, utasikizwa na polisi. Kama hutasikizwa na polisi, utasikizwa, of course, yule ambaye hatawacha kukusikiza ni Mungu. So don't do it. You have a reason for living. Asanteni sana. This has been Real Talk today. Your suggestions and comments are welcome. Any other topics that you would like us guys to take care hapa katika Musa wa Laikipia Live, mimi niko hapa, niambie. Lakini this is only part 1. If you are there and you would like even to share your story, sometimes people want to listen to other people's stories so that they can make their decision. Just talk to me, and it is absolutely free, ili tuweze ku sensitize our society, because if you're not affected, you're infected. It may not be your family, but you know a family which has been affected, and it can get to you. Let's talk, because the moment we stop talking, it will be the moment that we start fighting. This is Musa wa Laikipia. Have a good day and God bless. See you next time, same time, 11, here on Musa wa Laikipia Live. Bye bye for now.